3 miraculous signs revealed that indicate divine change is manifesting in your life now. In the heart of a quiet village, where the sun spilled golden light over the cottages, Sarah felt a tremor beneath her feet. Her young son, Alex, lay fevered and pale in their modest home, his laughter silenced by an illness that had swept through like a dark cloud. The doctor spoke words no mother should ever hear, words that felt like shards of glass to her heart. But Sarah, steeped in the warmth of her Anglican faith, clung to the hope that seemed as distant as the stars. In desperate nights, she cried out to St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, each prayer a fiery arrow shot into the heavens. One Sunday, amidst the gentle rustle of prayer books and the soft glow of stained glass, something miraculous began to unfold. As Sarah knelt alone in the church, her whispers echoed off the cold stone walls, layering the air with heavy expectation. Suddenly, a stranger entered, his silver hair catching the light like a halo. It was Caleb, a retired physician long drawn from the city's chaos. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, Sarah sensed a divine purpose unfurling. It would lead them to a place known for miracles, a sanctuary said to hold the power of restoration. Weeks passed, marked by lighted candles and whispered intercessions. The village rallied around Sarah, a prayer chain ignited flickers of renewed hope. Every week, as word spread, the congregation grew. Every candle lit was another hand gripping Sarah's shoulders, a storm of love lifting her. However, despair lurked still. What if the healer didn't come? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as hope pierced through the fog, Sarah stumbled upon a dark path. In her yearning for a miracle, she strayed into the realm of unconventional treatments, chasing shadows that led deeper into despair. Each decision heightened the village's worries, casting a shadow over their prayers. She found herself slipping, her spirit fractured under the weight of it all. The pews felt empty, the altar, a cruel reminder of what she desperately needed but could not grasp. In that turmoil, an unexpected clarity took form. One night, she returned to the church, the flickering candles illuminating her tears. "Lord, I surrender," she whispered in anguish. In that sacred silence, she felt a warmth unlike any other, a flow of spirit washing over her. With time, the air began to shift. Alex's cheeks flushed with color, laughter broke through their heavy silence. The miracle had come. As they celebrated a heartwarming recovery, the village stood united, eyes wide with wonder. Whispers circulated, was it a mere coincidence, or had they witnessed a sign of God's presence? In the rafters of their hearts, questions filled the air like incense, clinging to the spirit of what had transpired. Sarah felt a newfound light, a guiding whisper painting the path ahead. Yet, she stood at a crossroads, contemplating what message God had for her and the community, their story only beginning to unfold. The sun rose brightly over the village, casting a warm embrace across homes now brimming with life. Sarah stood on her porch, gaze fixed on the horizon. Hope swelled in her heart, but in the back of her mind, questions danced. What was her purpose now? What was God's plan for her after the miracle? As she watched the villagers go about their morning routines, a sense of urgency pulsed within her. She felt called to gather the community, to give voice to the spirit that had stirred so deeply within her. After many days of fervent prayer and humble reflection, she decided to go to the church, where all had begun and where all could perhaps be renewed. The wooden doors of the church creaked softly as Sarah pushed them open. Sunlight spilled in, illuminating the interior and transforming the mundane into the divine. She felt the presence of something sacred enveloping her. Sarah stepped inside and knelt before the altar, her soul laid bare, open to receive direction. "Lord," she prayed with fervor, "show me what I must do. How do I share this gift you have given? how do I rally your people?" Each word reverberated in the stillness, as though the very air listened intently. In that moment, the memory of each prayer, every flickering candle, the warmth of companionship, each symbol of hope came rushing back. Tears of gratitude flowed down her cheeks. "Thank you for Alex, for the love and faith of this village, but what would you have us do next?" As she raised her head, she noticed movement in the shadows of the nave. It was Caleb, the kind physician who had entered her life at just the right moment. He approached her with a gentle smile that radiated warmth and understanding. "Sarah," he said, his voice like a soothing balm. "You have felt the divine touch, and it is now time to share that light. Let us hold a healing service. Gather the community. Let us proclaim joy and hope through faith." A spark ignited within her at his words. "A healing service?" She echoed, her heart racing at the thought. "Yes. A gathering where those who are lost and weary can come, seek comfort and perhaps even miracles. Your story, your faith can inspire others to seek the same." The idea took root, sprouting like the blossoms of spring. Sarah imagined faces, both familiar and new, filling the church, some hopeful, others doubtful, but all searching for something greater. She could feel God stirring within her, preparing a tapestry of faith through their collective hearts. That evening, Sarah stood before the congregation, her heart pounding as voices behind her whispered in anticipation. The words poured forth from her soul. She spoke of the power of prayer, of community, and of unwavering trust in God. She shared her journey, the struggle, and the joy of Alex's miraculous recovery. Heads nodded, hearts connected. As she finished, a tangible silence fell over the gathering. In that stillness, the Spirit moved like a gentle breeze. Sarah saw many wipe away tears, their souls visibly touched by the weight of shared struggles and hopes. "Surrender," she urged softly. "It is in surrender that we find strength." With those words, an invitation sparked divine hope among the crowd. Individuals stepped forward, seekers of healing, each carrying their burdens into the shared light of faith. And then it happened. The church felt electric, a kaleidoscope of faith unfolding, as miraculous signs began to manifest around them. But as Sarah looked around, a flicker of doubt crept in. What if the strength of her faith wasn't enough to sustain the waves of healing and hope? The air shimmered with potential, and she wondered what God had in store next for her and her beloved village, what deeper lessons awaited them in this unfolding journey of faith. The air pulsed with possibility, every heartbeat echoing the miracle that had just unraveled before them. As Sarah moved among the congregation, her heart thumped in rhythm to the rising tide of faith. She felt drawn to the altar once more, to where the connection with the divine was strongest. The flickering candles cast a warm glow, illuminating the faces around her as they began to murmur prayers of their own. "Bring us your peace, Lord," a voice whispered. "Open our hearts," called another. As the prayers rose, Sarah sensed a shift. There was no escaping it, something fervent was brewing. The hesitant souls that had entered began to shed their fears like autumn leaves falling, revealing new life beneath. Sarah knelt again, but this time she felt the collective energy, a palpable surge of faith lifting them all. Caleb approached, the light reflecting off his spectacles, a knowing glimmer in his eyes. "Do you feel that, Sarah?" he asked, his voice low but filled with wonder. "It's like a wind unseen yet so powerful," she responded, her excitement mingled with humility. "Is this what real faith feels like?" "It is. It is the Spirit acting through us, binding us together." Caleb's enthusiasm ignited. He glanced around, then turned back to her. "Encourage them. They need to know they are a part of this." In that moment, Sarah realized her role was not just to share her experience but to awaken the divine within each person gathered. She stood once more, facing her beloved community. "This is your moment. Embrace the gifts God has placed in each of you. He calls us to healing, to transformation. Whatever you brought here, let it be reshaped by the love that surrounds us." Encouraged, more souls stepped forward, a young mother, eyes brimming with tears, an elderly man, his hands trembling but clasped in prayer. As each one shared their burden, their voices joined together, creating harmonies of longing and hope. The church felt like a heart, beating stronger with each shared story, each whisper of intent. "Be healed," Sarah cried, passion igniting her words. "Not just in body, but in spirit. We are not here merely for ourselves but for each other. In serving one another, we serve Him." The light shifted, pouring in like golden rays as the atmosphere heated with expectancy. Hands reached out, clasping together a weaving of lives, a community reborn. Sarah felt a warm breeze sweep through, as if heaven itself had opened a window. She gasped as she sensed an overwhelming presence enveloping them. Into the silence that followed, whispers began to rise like smoke from incense, a prayer for healing, for hope, for all that felt lost. The heart of the village swelled, embracing the weight of their collective yearning. Tears streamed down faces, hearts were mended, and laughter began to mingle with profound solemnity. Then a sudden gasp from the back of the church. A woman stood, both trembling and radiant. I can feel him." Her voice broke the silence like a bell, ringing out across the room. "Something has changed in me. I am no longer burdened." The crowd hushed, turning to her. Before they could respond, a gentle yet powerful energy pulsed outward. It surged over the congregation, infusing strength and courage, igniting their spirits one by one. The air crackled with divine affirmation, and Sarah sensed promises unfolding, not just for her but for all of them. But in the midst of this divine revelation, doubt beckoned again. What if this moment faded? What if their faith wavered in the trials to come? Sarah's heart raced, caught between elation and uncertainty. She lifted her gaze to the heavens, longing for answers amidst the wonder. "Lord, what is the next step for us?" She breathed aloud into the sacred space. As the crowd began to whisper praises, a luminous presence surrounded them. In that moment, she knew something greater had been set in motion, yet she wondered what would the culmination of this profound faith journey look like. Would they be ready for the divine tests ahead? What awaited them on the road of transformation? A stillness settled over the congregation, a hush that held a million breaths captive. Faces glowed with a blend of wonder and newfound hope. Sarah felt the weight of their expectation resting on her shoulders, guiding her deeper into the divine mystery unfolding. Caleb, still near her, clasped his hands in prayer, his eyes sparkling with reverence. "Sometimes, the answers we seek come not in words but in the silence where we listen," he whispered, as if sharing an ancient secret. Nodding, Sarah closed her eyes, allowing the intense energy flowing through the room to wash over her. She could feel the pulsations of every heart, beating in unity, a symphony of faith lifting towards the heavens. "What do you want from us, Lord?" "We are ready," she whispered, her prayer a soft flutter amidst the collective courage. Suddenly, a flicker of light danced at the altar. It shimmered, drawing gazes with its hypnotic pull. The crowd's murmurs hushed, their collective breath hitching in anticipation. Sarah blinked, entranced by the heavenly glow that flickered like candlelight within the sacred space. "Is this a sign?" someone in the front row exclaimed, astonished. The light expanded, swirling like a divine mist that wrapped lovingly around the people. It pulsed gently, beckoning them to step closer, to reach out toward the promise it held. Sarah felt compelled to walk forward, feeling drawn into the radiance. The warmth radiated deep into her being, igniting her heart. "Have no fear," Sarah called, letting words flow from the fountain of courage building within her. "He is here with us. This light, it's a promise of His presence. Let it guide your hearts." Obedient to Sarah's words, they stepped forward, spirits intertwined under the gentle embrace of hope. As they advanced, the light pulsed brighter, illuminating their faces with a glow that could only belong to heaven. Then, a sudden clarity echoed within Sarah's heart. The signs will come to those who act. She remembered each of the struggles, the fears that had overwhelmed her and many others. As she looked into the eyes of those gathered, she saw a deep yearning overshadowed by uncertainties. What is it we must do? She posed the question, her voice resolute, filled with the weight of collective awareness. Will we step into this light and believe in our transformation together? A young man stepped forward, his voice shaky yet firm. What if we fail? Failure is not the end, Caleb interjected, his gaze steady. It's just a sign that we must lean in deeper into His grace. His grace. The woman from before, the one who had felt the change stirring within her, rose again, her voice empowered by clarity. What if this moment is not just for us but that we carry this hope back into our lives, our families, our community? There were murmurs of agreement, a surge of energy as the idea propagated like wildfire, igniting hearts and reaffirming the collective journey they were embarking upon. With every nod and every whispered amen, Sarah felt the Spirit compelling them all to step beyond their fears. As they formed a circle, holding hands in unity, she could sense another wave of transformation surging. Together we can be change, she declared, feeling the pulse of anticipation rise again. Together, we can trust in every challenge ahead. It was then, as if the air breathed with purpose, that the luminous presence enveloped them once more, urging a deeper unity. Like a river intersecting with vast oceans, their faith began to transcend individual struggles, mixing into a force far greater than any one of them. But just as hope soared, doubts slipped like shadows, creeping in. What trials would this newfound journey bring? What true connections would be tested? Lord, Sarah whispered, her heart echoing the question voiced by each. What must we endure to be shaped for your greater calling? The flickering glow intensified, swirling around them, as if in response. In that moment, the seeds of divine purpose were being planted, each promise laden with potential. Yet, Sarah's heart hungered for clarity. Would they truly have the strength to follow through in this shared journey of transformation? What awaited them beyond the veil of faith and doubt? The questions hung in the air, waiting to be answered. A quiet anticipation settled over her as the light shimmered, illuminating paths previously unknown. Would the divine reveal itself in ways they never expected? As the light swirled around them, a profound stillness enveloped the room. It felt like time had paused, each heartbeat resonating with a rhythm synchronized by something greater than themselves. Sarah gazed into the faces of her companions, each one a reflection of hope and uncertainty. They were all seekers, yearning for guidance, ready to receive whatever was being offered. The radiant glow pulsed, and with every heartbeat, she realized they were all on the brink of something monumental. Together, we felt His call, and now it's time we uncover what this light truly means for us, she urged, her spirit rising with each word spoken. Suddenly, an elder in the back whispered, "This light is not just for us. It's a beacon for those outside these walls." His eyes sparkled with a wisdom that transcended his years. His words hung like jewels in the air, igniting a spark of awareness among the congregation. Yes. We'll carry this hope. Sarah exclaimed, surprised by the strength in her own voice. We are called to be vessels, to share this light and love wherever we go. The idea resonated deeply within them. Waves of energy rippled through the crowd, echoing the notion that beyond their individual struggles was a cause greater than themselves. It was as if the very air around them began to vibrate with divine possibility. Caleb, sensing the shift, stepped forward with a fervor. What if we step outside and show others this love? What if we let this light shine through our actions? It's not just about us receiving, it's about us becoming part of something miraculous. Yes. Someone shouted from the group, their voice rising above the din. No more holding back. We rise together. Empowerment surged like wildfire, filling every heart with the realization that they were not alone in this journey. They were interconnected, woven together by their shared faith. Each person's spirit glowed brighter, fueled by the truth that they didn't have to bear their burdens alone. As they clasped hands tighter, the warmth of their connection spread like a blanket of grace. Let us take a step now, Sarah urged. In this moment, let us commit to being the change in our community. Wherever we go, let this light travel with us." With those words, they took a collective breath, their hearts swelling with purpose. All fears began to dissipate, replaced by an unstoppable force of resolve. They would take the promises of transformation and carry them beyond the walls of their gathering. A hushed reverence filled the space again as the light shimmered, as if echoing the sacred pact they had formed. With each flicker, it surged with blessings meant to be shared. What if Sarah's heart raced as a thought bloomed? What if this light brings us closer to the struggles we've overlooked in our lives? What if, as we embrace this change, we find the strength to overcome challenges we thought insurmountable? The light flared one last time, casting a halo over the entire congregation. Each face now bore the mark of determination, emblazoned with the desire to be more than mere witnesses to faith. They would be living testimonies. But just as the anticipation peaked, a sense of foreboding washed over Sarah. Would the collective strength hold when trials would inevitably arise? "Lord," she breathed out, eyes closed in prayer, "show us the way. What challenges await us as we embark on this journey of divine purpose?" Her question hung delicately in the air, almost tangible, demanding attention. The light pulsed one final time, a promise lingering close, as Sarah opened her eyes. An unknowing curiosity fluttered in her chest. What unforeseen trials and triumphs would this journey invoke? As they stood in silent wait, each heart thumping loudly with expectation, the collective journey was only just beginning. What revelations might unfold when they answered the call of divine purpose? A gentle hum filled the air, vibrating with the energy of shared purpose. Sarah surveyed the eager faces, the spark of commitment glimmering in their eyes. They had all felt that the light was a divine calling, stirring an awakening that transcended the walls around them. Yet, there lay a veil over the clarity they craved. "Together, we must move forward," Caleb urged, his voice steady. "But first, we must understand what we are truly facing. We've set our intentions high, let us prepare our hearts for what lies ahead." A ripple of agreement coursed through the crowd. Sarah sensed a collective heartbeat, a unison of souls tethered by hope, yet nervous about the path ahead. "What if we encounter obstacles?" A voice quivered from the back. "Obstacles are merely stepping stones," Caleb replied with a smile. "They shape our journey and build our strength. With the light shining in us, we can face any shadow." His words brought a soft murmur of encouragement. The light flickered in response, each pulse echoing the truth they were beginning to grasp. Sarah felt a warmth radiating from her core, mingling with the brightly humbled spirits beside her. As they drew closer together, an idea blossomed in Sarah's mind: what if we began our journey by acknowledging our own challenges? By sharing our burdens, we might learn to lift each other up even more. Caleb nodded, recognizing the importance of vulnerability. "Let us share our struggles. Let us bring them to the light." With a newfound strength, Sarah began, "I've battled feelings of inadequacy. I've stared down the mirror and felt unworthy to be a messenger of His grace." Her voice wavered slightly, yet she pressed on. One by one, others followed. An elderly woman stepped forward, "I fear loneliness. I've lost many loved ones, and each day feels heavy without them." The raw honesty poured forth, creating a tapestry of shared humanity. As burdens were laid bare, they transformed into tenets of connection. Their pain illuminated by the light's glow shifted their fears into shared strength. "I feel overwhelmed by the needs of my family," another said. "I want to be that guiding light, but sometimes I feel lost." With each confession, the atmosphere deepened, thick with vulnerability. The admiration grew. As each wound was presented, the light seemed to amplify the compassion within them. Words turned into prayers, hands clasped tighter, and each heart began to beat in unison, a rhythm of shared healing. "Yes. We will walk together through the valleys," Sarah encouraged, moved by the sacred exchange. "Each of our burdens can become a prayer for one another. Together, there is nothing we cannot face." Energy surged, raising spirits high while the light shimmered around them, casting away the shadows that once lingered. "Let us lift up one another's fears. As we carry this light, we can transform our struggles into stories of hope. Caleb called out, excitement lighting his eyes. Together, they responded, and the revelation echoed like a heavenly chorus. In those moments of sharing, an unexpected clarity took root. They were no longer just individuals grappling with their own darkness. They were a vibrant community blooming with resilience, ready to illuminate the path for others. Yet, as they basked in this newfound connection, a question hung in the air as if whispered by the divine: what if the very obstacles they faced were not just barriers, but opportunities to display the light they had found within? Each heart raced with anticipation. What miracles awaited them as they ventured out into the world, together carrying their joined strengths? The journey was only just beginning, but in the urgency of that moment, the question loomed: could they become the change that transformed not only their lives but the lives of those they reached? As the glow of the light enveloped them, a new sense of purpose coursed through the group. The air was thick with anticipation, and Sarah looked around, sensing the collective heartbeat that pulsed with renewed hope. Each shared burden had woven them together, and now the fabric of their community felt stronger than ever. Let us take a moment to breathe in this sacred awareness, Sarah suggested. The group fell silent, inhaling deeply. She could feel the warmth of their intentions radiating like sunbeams, converging in the center of their gathering. May our breaths carry our prayers, our hopes, and our collective desires. Caleb's voice cut through the stillness. Every breath we take is a gift, an opportunity to recognize the divine presence in our lives. It's in these moments of stillness that the unseen can be revealed. A faint wind swirled through the circle, carrying with it a gentle affirmation, like a whisper from above. Eyes widened in wonder. They could almost hear the echoes of their longings bouncing back to them, resonating with the promise of something greater. But what comes next? Someone asked, breaking the silence. How do we encounter these opportunities without fear? How do we know they're truly part of his plan? Caleb's face lit up, lighting a spark of enthusiasm. To navigate our path, we must trust the gentle guidance of the Spirit. Remember, faith is not merely a feeling, it is an action. We are called to step forward, even when we cannot see the end of the road. Yes. A voice chimed in. It's like walking in the fog. If we wait for the fog to lift, we might never move. Instead, let us step boldly, knowing we are not alone. A tangible thrill surged through the circle. Encouraged by their fellow seekers, they were beginning to unravel the truth that each obstacle did indeed carry a promise of transformation. Are you ready, then? Sarah asked, her heart pounding with excitement. Ready to seek the signs of his movement in our lives? More than ever. They responded with fervor, and it felt like a rallying cry, a beacon illuminating the way ahead. With a newfound determination, Sarah felt compelled to share stories of transformation in her own life, moments where faith had defied the odds. She spoke of times when she had felt utterly alone but discovered warmth in the arms of community. Each time, I emerged stronger, with a clearer understanding of his purpose. Caleb nodded, his eyes sparkling. Testimonies have mighty power. They can shift perspectives and ignite hope. Let us each share a moment that has shown us the light, even in darkness. And so, one by one, stories began to flow, miracles of reconciliation, transformations born out of brokenness. Each account became a thread in the rich tapestry of their journey. The atmosphere crackled with energy as laughter and tears mingled, creating a sacred space where vulnerability met strength. As the night deepened, a hush blanketed them once more. It was then that Sarah felt the undeniable urge to call out, "Let us pray for clairvoyance. May our hearts remain open to see the signs, the miracles in the mundane. May we be attuned to the whispers of his love resonating through the ordinary." Hands were clasped tighter, and heads bowed lower. The prayer held a weight that transcended mere words. And in that sacred silence, something shifted. Even the air seemed to thrum with expectancy, as if heaven leaned in closer. Yet, as they opened their eyes and looked at one another, an enigmatic thought danced at the edges of Sarah's mind. What if the miracles we seek are not just in grand gestures, but hidden in the everyday experiences around us? She whispered. Her words sparked further contemplation. For as they gathered their courage to step forth into their new mission, a new question lingered: what simple act of kindness might lead to the extraordinary change they have been called to manifest? With hearts ablaze and minds swirling in mystery, they knew that the path ahead was both daunting and alluring. The stage was set for a beautiful transformation, leaving them thirsting for the insights that awaited just beyond the horizon. As the silence broke, Sarah felt a wave of excitement ripple through the group. It was as if they stood on the threshold of something magnificent. She gestured toward the sky, where shimmering stars peeked through the parting clouds. "Look at the stars," she exclaimed. "Each one flickers with the notion that guidance is all around us. Who knows what wonders await us if we just open our hearts?" Caleb leaned in closer, his voice infused with fervor. "Let us set our intentions tonight. What do we desire to witness? What signs do we hope to see that reaffirm God's path for us?" The group nodded in agreement. They began sharing their hopes aloud, weaving dreams into the air as they spoke healing for loved ones, clarity in decisions, and strength to overcome personal struggles. "May our desires not just echo in this moment," Sarah said, her eyes shining with inspiration, "but transform into action. We need to seek these signs actively, not just wait for them to appear." A wave of determination surged through them. It was more than just a meeting, it was the birth of a mission. They would look for glimpses of the extraordinary in their everyday lives. As they outlined their individual needs, the atmosphere felt charged, alive with possibility. "I believe we will be met with kindness," one woman murmured, "even when we least expect it." A collective energy made its way through the circle. Everyone began to remember times when unexpected acts of kindness had changed their direction, even if just slightly. There was power in acknowledging those moments, a recognition of divine presence in the lives of each member. Caleb spoke again, his voice steady and reassuring. "Let us not merely await miracles but be conduits of His grace in the world. What if we become the very signs we are seeking?" Excited murmurs filled the air. "Exactly. We can be hope-bearers." Another exclaimed, his face brightening as he spoke. The idea resonated deeply with Sarah. She recalled the story of a woman she once knew, who had decided to start a community garden. This small act faced initial skepticism, yet it flourished and brought life to a barren space while reconnecting neighbors through simple acts of sharing food and friendship. "Small actions create ripples," she shared, her eyes shining with conviction. "Your kindness might be the spark for someone else's transformation." The sacred space thrummed with connection as they envisioned what they could collectively achieve. Suddenly, a curious question broke through the conversation. What if the act of kindness doesn't come from just us? What if a stranger appears in our lives with the gentleness we've forgotten about? An idea flickered in Sarah's mind, illuminating the air like those stars above. Yes. What a precious thought. Maybe the divine will present itself in unexpected people, lessons, or encounters. We must cultivate an awareness to recognize these moments. The group paused, reflecting on how each person's encounter could serve as an instrument of change. They were not merely waiting for signs but embracing the unknown with open hearts. As the hour grew late, they decided to close their gathering with a final prayer. Hand in hand, they offered gratitude for the dreams they had shared and the blessing of community. There was a gentle stillness, as if all of heaven listened intently, waiting to respond. "May we meet the extraordinary in our daily lives," Sarah began, her voice barely above a whisper. "May our eyes be opened, our hearts softened, and our hands ready to serve. Let us trust that change is already upon us." With that, a gentle breeze swept through their circle, dancing between them as they released their clasped hands. It felt like a promise, a divine assurance that their hearts were aligned with a greater purpose. As they walked away that night, one thought lingered in Sarah's mind: what might happen if they kept their eyes wide open to the miracles threading through ordinary moments? The stars above twinkled like winks from the universe, leaving an unspoken promise hanging in the air. And so they ventured home. Each step echoing a question: how shall we witness the extraordinary tomorrow? The following day dawned bright and clear, a radiant canvas of blue stretching infinitely across the sky. Sarah awoke with renewed energy, a buzz of anticipation threading through her thoughts. The promise of the evening still lingered in the corners of her mind, like the soft embrace of a lingering hug. She felt assured that the universe was whispering, "Today is the day." As she walked through her morning routine, her heart was aglow with purpose. Each moment, even the simplest, seemed steeped in potential. While brewing her coffee, she noticed her neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, wrestling with a stubborn weed in her garden. Normally, Sarah would have just waved and carried on, but today felt different. Today, she stepped outside. "Need a hand?" she called out, surprising even herself with her eagerness. Mrs. Thompson looked up, her eyes lit with appreciation. "Oh, Sarah. That would be lovely." As they worked side by side, they shared stories, laughter, and bits of wisdom, revealing glimpses into their lives that were otherwise hidden under busy days. In that small act of kindness, Sarah experienced something profound. Here was a little miracle, a reminder of the divine connection found even in the mundane. As they finished tidying up the garden, Mrs. Thompson presented her with a freshly cut bouquet of flowers. "You've brightened my day," she said with a warm smile. It was a moment that made Sarah pause, reflecting on how much joy lay in unexpected encounters. And somehow, she found herself thinking of Caleb's words from the night before. "We become the very signs we are seeking." What if every gesture, big or small, carried the potential to weave extraordinary change into the fabric of their lives? Later, as the sun dipped toward the horizon, she decided to meet with Caleb and the rest of the group again. The air buzzed with excitement, crackling with stories of kindness shared and our potential for deeper connections. Caleb was animated. "Let us share what we've witnessed today," he prompted, his enthusiasm infectious. One by one, they began recounting their experiences. A stranger buying coffee for a weary traveler at the station. A child helping another navigate their homework. Small moments knitting them closer together, revealing glimpses of grace and beauty woven into the ebb and flow of life. "I received unexpected help at work today," a young man shared, his eyes glistening with gratitude. "The woman who stepped in to assist me was a stranger, but somehow felt like a guardian angel." "That is the spirit at work," Sarah exclaimed, her heart swelling with warmth. "Every kind encounter signifies that God is alive and active among us." As the evening drew on, the atmosphere was thick with sincerity and joy. They lit candles, casting a gentle glow around the room, and gathered in a large circle. It was a moment of sacredness, a communion of hearts bound by hope. "We must not just witness the extraordinary," Sarah said, "but also allow ourselves to be transformed by it." With eyes closed, they prayed, lifting their desires and aspirations into the divine, a tapestry woven with threads of vulnerability, faith, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. After the prayer, the gentle rustle of the breeze brushed against their cheeks, tickling their spirits. The divine was indeed inviting them to step further into the mystery, each heartbeat a reminder that they were not alone. "There is something magical about tonight," a woman whispered, casting a knowing glance around the circle. As they were about to leave, a shimmering star broke through the swirling clouds above, illuminating the night sky. Gasps of awe echoed among them. "What do you think that means?" someone pondered, a lightness dancing through their words. Sarah's mind swirled, contemplating the divine mystery. What signs awaited them as they continued their journey? What miraculous encounters might unfold next? The group dispersed, filled with anticipation and faith. Sarah lingered for a moment, staring up at the star-studded sky. The answer was hovering somewhere in the air, just out of reach. Waiting to be discovered. And with that thought, a new question arose in her heart: would tomorrow bring the changes they sought, or would it reveal something entirely unexpected? The sun rose gently, casting its tender light over the village, illuminating the paths Sarah and the faithful community were about to tread. It felt as if heaven held its breath, poised for something divine to unfold. Sarah stood at her porch, the echo of yesterday's prayers still dancing in her spirit. She could sense it in the air, a fresh breeze carrying promises yet to be revealed. "Are you ready for today?" she whispered to herself, the words slipping from her lips like an incantation. A mixture of anticipation and serenity enveloped her heart, as though she had awoken to a calling that transcended the mundane. Gathering the community once more in the warm embrace of the church felt right, almost orchestrated by a higher hand. As she stood before the gathered villagers, their faces told tales of hope and longing. Each person held a piece of the puzzle, and together they would unveil the beauty of God's manifestation in their lives. "Today, let us share the divine sparks we have witnessed," Sarah began, her voice steady, reverberating off the hallowed walls. "What signs of transformation have found you? What divine threads have woven through your daily lives?" Hands shot up in excitement, bubbling over with stories. One after another, they shared the moments of kindness, compassion, and unexpected miracles that had touched their hearts since they last gathered. Each testimony filled the air, igniting the spirit like a wildfire, a cascade of faith illuminating the spaces that once felt shrouded in shadows. "I found the courage to reach out to a friend I hadn't spoken to in years," a young woman shared, her eyes sparkling with tears. "I never expected such warmth in return. It was as if God had been waiting for this moment." "Exquisite, dear sister," Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing with joy. Warmth rippled through the congregation as they felt the merging of spirits, each heart resonating with the vibrations of love and transformation. Caleb stood next, his hands raised to the heavens. "Each of you has a story. Our testimonies knit us closer to God's fabric. Together, we are stronger." The crowd erupted into a chorus of amen. A sacred acknowledgement that echoed through the rafters. Commitment settled like dew, the collective resolve galvanized under the golden rays illuminating the space. "Let us offer ourselves, allow our hands and hearts to be instruments of His grace," Sarah proclaimed passionately. The sentiments surged with fervor, spiraling upwards, reaching toward the divine. Guided by Sarah's words, they gathered in circles, holding hands tightly, breathing life into the sacred moment. Together, they prayed for themselves, for the community, and for those beyond their reach. At that moment, humble hearts opened wide, absorbing divine purpose. "Let us not wait for change to come to us, but let us go and be that change," Sarah inspired, her voice rising with spirit. "Share kindness without reserve, initiate hope through our actions, and seek the extraordinary in every soul we encounter." With renewed energy, they felt transformed. But even as excitement coursed through them like vibrant electricity, a contemplative silence ensued as doubt crept in. What if the world beyond did not receive their light? What if rejection awaited them, and the fresh flame of hope extinguished? Looking around, Sarah sensed a heaviness woven into the hope. "While the fears may linger, remember this, our faith is more powerful than any doubt," she encouraged, her words like a balm to their apprehensions. "Let us nurture the flame within us, no matter the trial." As she spoke, the church illuminated with a divine presence. The warmth surrounded them and settled in their hearts. "Let us create a ripple," Sarah challenged. Each small act, a whisper of love delivered beyond these walls, could be a wave to turn the tide for someone in need. And like that, inspiration echoed as they began to contemplate the unexpected opportunities that awaited outside the church. With each spoken idea, the atmosphere thickened with possibility. "Let us take our first steps now," Caleb suggested. With hands still joined, their strength pulsed in perfect harmony. "Let us go out and serve one another and strengthen our ties. Together, we will illuminate this village." And with that, they descended the steps of the church, hearts brightly aglow. They scattered in groups, ready to lend helping hands, share compassionate words, and create pockets of peace wherever they felt called. The village buzzed with curiosity as they moved amongst the daily rhythms, their actions painting the day with kindness. Laughter rang out, connection blossomed, and souls once burdened became unburdened, the air filled with the sweet scent of transformation. Murmurs swept through the streets. Have you felt the change? It's like a light has been ignited. With each interaction, they sprinkled hope freely, nurturing connections that changed not only the village but the hearts of those who participated. Underneath the golden glow of sunset, a new path emerged, marked by humility and outreach. Sarah returned to her porch that evening, her spirit soaring with gratitude. Little miracles had sprung forth in every corner of the village, every encounter watering the seeds of faith and catalyzing the change they had sought. The gentle breeze whispered secrets of the day's impact, that authentic connection and open hearts were the true embodiments of divine transformation. The villagers were now messengers of grace, light-bearers crafting their narrative, a tapestry of faith forged through love. As night unfolded, filled with stars dotted like diamonds, Sarah bowed her head in quiet reverence. Thank you, Lord, for the journey, for each moment of laughter, connection, and the signs of your presence. May we never lose sight of the extraordinary in the ordinary. With that, she felt the warmth of hope envelop her again, flowing through her veins, carrying with it the promise that their transformative journey had only just begun. And at that moment, she knew though challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, woven tightly into the intricate fabric of faith and love, radiating the divine light they had embraced so fully. As they had nurtured the light within, they would continue to seek the signs of God's presence, leaving a legacy of compassion, unity, and grace that would span beyond the village, well into eternity. Now more than ever, it was time to share this journey. You need to subscribe now to the channel and join us for the next exclusive stories of miraculous faith unfolding. Don't wait even one more second, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let the world know that love and light prevail. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about today's incredible transformation. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this divine manifestation. We are all called to spread the light. Let us go forth together.